y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Taylor. So I am so excited to announce my first ever readathon that I am hosting. I've been dropping hints about it for a little while now, and it is finally the day. Today's the day that I get to announce the Once Upon a February readathon. And I have been wanting to do this for, it feels like forever, at least a year. Hadn't been able to do it, and I was trying to think of what in the world I could do for a readathon that wasn't copycatting people, something kind of unique. Granted, there are fairy tale retelling readathons and even some in February, but I just love fairy tales, and I have always loved them. They probably originated with my favorite middle grade book, which is Ella Enchanted. And I kind of got out of the habit of reading them when I became a Christian, because a lot of them, older ones, have a lot of spice to them, which is what I don't read. But then I discovered the clean fairy tale retelling era of my life that's happening. So I read a lot of them last year, and so I was like, let's do a fairy tale retelling readathon. And my birthday month is February, and it's the month of love, and it just felt like it all fit right into place. And I really wanted some help to create it, and I have some lovely co-hosts, and they are Celestria, Cat from Cat Stories, Christy A. Cole, Paperbacks and Ponytails, which is Katie, and the Writing Songbird, which is Reese. So we came up with the Once Upon a February readathon. It really was a group effort, and I truly believe that I could not have done it without them. It is really exciting what we came up with, and slightly ambitious too. So this readathon is hosted all throughout the February month, all throughout February, and that's because I cannot seem to do a week-long readathon, and so why not have a month-long one where we have more time to work with here, even though it is a shorter month. So there are 12 prompts, and I know this seems like a lot, but hold on, let me clarify in just a bit. But you can double up on prompts. That is definitely a thing. I'm a huge fan of finagling and making things fit. So please use one book for all 12 of them if you want. I think that's a challenge to use as few books as possible for a readathon, but while getting all the prompts. There is one caveat. At least one of them has to be a fairy tale retelling. You can use other genres to fill other prompts, but at least one book that you read to participate has to be a fairy tale retelling. So I'm going to go over the prompts, and then I have something else to share at the end. So we have a lovely graphic that I will put up on the screen as well, so you can look at it as we go along. But Katie made us these lovely graphics and things, so thank you, Katie, again for doing that. So the first prompt we have is red rose, so red on the cover. All of these prompts have something to do with fairy tales, of course. So red rose, I was thinking kind of like Beauty and the Beast. There's a red rose, and some, I think Snow White, is it her lips are as red as rose? So that is common theme of a red rose. So red on the cover, and I'm going to share with you a couple of my recommendations that I have read. So this can be red on the cover, can be just the writing can be red, something else in the cover. So these are two that I would recommend. So The Healer's Apprentice by Melanie Dickerson. This is a Sleeping Beauty reimagining retelling. By the way, reimagining retelling, I kind of use them interchangeably, so do with that what you will. Some type of fairy tale story is similar to a story that you're reading. And then The Beautiful Pretender by Melanie Dickerson as well. This one is kind of like Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, kind of mashed up, reimagining type of thing. Both of them are very fun to read. The next prompt is Fairy Godmother, a gender-flipped retelling. So this one is where the original fairy tale, the male and female have one role, but in the reimagining or retelling, they are flip-flopped. So an example of this would be To Crack a Soldier by Sarah Baron. This one is a Nutcracker retelling. This one, the human in the equation is the man, and the wooden doll is the ballerina. So they're flip-flopped from what they usually are. Another example is, let's see, The Huntress of Thornbeck Forest by Melanie Dickerson. This is actually the first book in this duology. So read this one first if you want to read this one. By the way, I should mention that earlier, but this one is kind of Robin Hood. So the Robin Hood is female, if you can't tell from the cover. So there's that kind of example. And let's see, Merry Men, a male main character. So Merry Men, obviously Robin Hood, and To Crack a Soldier would work for this. He is a main character. And my second recommendation is Becoming Hook by Mary Meckham Meacham. I'm not sure how to say her last name, but Hook is the main character of this one, and this was my favorite fairy tale retelling of last year, so I highly recommend it. Hook is actually the hero in this one, and Pan is the villain, and it is a love story between Hook and Tinkerbell, and it is so good. Highly recommend. The next prompt is the evil stepmother, or a notorious villain. So there are a lot of fairy tales that have evil stepmothers. So you can really just kind of assume that there will probably be a villain in a fairy tale retelling, particularly the more well-known ones, which would be like Peter Pan, there's Hook, or in the case of Becoming Hook, it's flip-flopped. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, you just know who the villain is, and most likely the fairy tale version of it is the fairy tale retelling version of it. There will probably be a villain. So an example I have of this one would be The Lady of Ballymacool by Jennifer Dibble. And I wanted to mention too that if you're not comfortable with reading magic or a book having magic in it, there are historical fiction versions of fairy tale retellings, and this is one of them. There's no magic. It is real life and it is historical fiction, and it is set in the 1940s in Ireland. So that was a pretty cool take on the Cinderella story. So there is an evil. She's sort of the stepmother. She's a stepmother figure in Cinderella's life, so she would work for this prompt as being the villain. Pixie Dust. There has to be a magical creature in the story. So I have Dust by Kara Swanson. There is the crocodile. It's supposed to be the crocodile from the original story, but it's the Neverland creature is what it's called. But or Becoming Hook has the crocodile in it. To Break a Silence by Lydia May. That one is a Little Mermaid retelling, so sirens or little mermaids would work. Any kind of magical creature, even if it is the main character, like a fairy, a pixie. I can't even think of all the options, but there are quite a few. Midnight. You are the last to read a book. So at the stroke of midnight, something magical happens, something drastic happens a lot in fairy tales, and retellings too. But this one, we thought it might be fun if you tried and knocked out a book that you feel like everybody else is talking about and you're the last one to get to it. So this would be that prompt, and I can't really give you a recommendation for that one, but yeah, I'm sure if you've heard me talk about some and you've been excited to read them, go for it. Or any of my other co-hosts or anybody really that you've heard them talk about books and you want to get to it too, that would count. Bluebeard, a lesser known retelling, and this one you of course hear more about the fairy tales that are more popular. They typically have more retelling options, but I thought it might be fun to include some that you just don't hear very much about. And Bluebeard is a fairy tale that I learned about last year, and that one was through Bluebeard and the Outlaw by Tara Grace. And it is more of a dark fairy tale, but that particular retelling does have a happy ending, just so you know. But something you haven't heard very much about, and you can Google them or whatever. I know there is Thrushbeard is one I haven't heard much of until recently, so there's a few of those. I have not read it myself, but I've heard a lot of people talk about Kidnapped at Dusk by Lehaloha. Is that how you say her name? Humphreys. And I may read that one for this month as well. So the wolf prompt is: an animal is integral to the plot. This doesn't have to be a magical creature. They could count for the same prompt if you wanted to. They're pretty similar, but there could be a bird. There could be, just a regular dog. The main character has some type of companion. The one I have in particular and in mind, the Red Riding Hood story has a wolf in it, obviously, and the one Red Riding Hood retelling I've read so far is Scarlet in the Dark Woods. Forget. I'll have the cover up. But that's by Mary Meekum, and this one, I don't know if you're a seasonal reader, maybe not would be an option for this month, but because it's set in fall and it very much has fall vibes, so take with that as you will. But it is a Red Riding Hood retelling, and there is a wolf in it. And then, the crocodile and Peter Pan. So you can use whatever type of animal. You can even have it on the cover. Most likely, based on the color, it should be in the story, right? Musical voice. It incorporates music or singing somehow. And, princesses, particularly in Disney movies, tend to sing a lot. So you can use a Little Mermaid retelling. To Crack a Soldier, which I mentioned before, actually has a fairly... music has a fairly important role in that story as well. It is, the Nutcracker, so it's kind of Christmassy. So again, if you're a seasonal reader, you might not want to read that one, but it's kind of gives more like wintry, just magical feeling to it. There's different seasons in it, so it doesn't necessarily exclusively a Christmas book. So, but it is the Nutcracker, if that makes you think Christmas. I'm going off on a tangent. Let's move on. Long Locks. A girl with long hair in the story or on the cover, and I would describe long hair as longer than mine. Longer than shoulder length. I would count that. Snow Queen. There is a quest as part of the story, and I think you can stretch this one. Christy and I were talking about, what if it was a quest of the heart? And I think that would totally count because, sometimes going into a story, you might not know if they are, going somewhere and looking for something. You might not know that in the beginning of reading a book. So most likely, if it is a fairy tale retelling, and there's some romance, you could totally count that as they're looking to find love. They're on a quest to find love. Or even, I would say if it is a, like a young adult, maybe they're on a quest to grow as a person. So you can definitely stretch that one. I do have an option for that one in case you're interested. So The Princess Game by Melanie Sellier. That one is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and she is on a quest to find the person who cursed her. So that one's a really good one. I really like that one. Thumbelina, and this is the last prompt. It is the shortest book or a short book on your TBR. So anything, I guess, less than 250 pages, a novella. A lot of these would work, but specifically, I'm going to recommend books from the Shattered Tales series, multi-author series. I haven't read all of them. I read a few of them, but they're all novellas, so it should work for this prompt. Specifically, the one I haven't mentioned in a while is To Defy a Dream by Mary Meekum, and it is a Sleeping Beauty retelling as well, and it's very, very unique. Now, I know 12 prompts are a lot. Like I said, you can double up. However, to give you more of incentive to fill all 12 prompts, hopefully, or at least more than one, we actually have levels of completion. So if you fulfill one prompt, you are Pixie status. If you fill 7 prompts or more, you are a Prince or Princess status. And if you hit the jackpot, you hit all of them, all 12 prompts, you are a Fairy Godmother, Godfather status. So congrats if you reach all 12. But at the end of the month, if you want, this is kind of more of an interactive part of our readathon, which I think is kind of unique and really fun. If you follow us on social media, you can, like Instagram, you can make a post and put all the prompts and what books you filled, and use the graphic, if you will, to make a post and tag at least one of us, or all of us if you would like, and let us know what prompts you did. We will send you a congratulatory message that is telling you what status you are, and we will share it on our social medias as well. I am also planning to make a congratulatory video and shout everybody out who participated and thank everyone who did. So that is what we plan to do for that. And we are also, a couple of us are hosting reading sprints in the month of February, so stay tuned for that. So I think that was everything. If not, I'll put some stuff in the description box, and I will also be posting my TBR for the readathon a little closer to February. But I wanted to spread the word so you can start thinking about your TBRs and what you would like to read if you would like to participate. Again, if you only read one book that is a fairy tale retelling, it counts. So I'm all about making life easier and just having fun, and thank y'all so much for watching, and I am excited to do my first readathon with y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye y'all.